Welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast, in association with Simco Training. This is the weekly podcast where we share best practice, tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your dealership or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett. Now, some of you probably already know me as Skippy. I want to start by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Hi, this is the last episode in the series, Mastering the 4 Customer Types. Now, listen, if you're new to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast, firstly, I want to say thank you. Now, you might want to go back and have a look at some of the other modules first, because this one, you're kind of coming at it at the end of it, okay? Now, if you're just interested in dealing with, mastering, how to nail the 4 different types of customers, just go back to the first one. It's called Mastering the 4 Different Types of Customers. Or if you want to go back and listen to some of the interviews where we've interviewed top salespeople, where we've interviewed psychologists, dealer owners, we've interviewed managing directors of dealer groups. There's lots of different episodes there for you, okay? But this one is all about the analytical snake. Now, some of the tests you may have done in the past are psychometric profile. Discus, Myers-Briggs, AVA. There's so many of them out there. Insights, I think, is another one. Okay, these ones, they're called analytical. They're the clinical customer. They might be the blues. We call them the snakes. Now, they're not snakes because they're slimy, beady-eyed people. It makes me laugh. If someone's first come to this, what? They deal with snakes. Go back and have a look at mastering the 4 different types of customers. Let's just talk about how to deal with that snake. Now, firstly, the snake. This is the person that is not assertive and not responsive to people. Okay, they are precise, orderly, and very businesslike, very rational and cooperative, self-controlled and serious. They're motivated by logic and facts. They're not always quick to make a decision. This is the person that likes things in writing and in detail. They're security conscious, critical. They come across as aloof, skeptical sometimes, really good problem solver. And when you think about the customer that walks in, they have 3 or 4 pens in their top pocket. Their first question is, what are the dimensions of this car with one wing mirror folded in and the other one folded out? They don't have that on the online information. They should do, really, shouldn't they? Okay. The analytical snake is the customer that asks the question they know the answer to before they've asked it. In old money, what's the fuel consumption on this car? It's 46.9 miles per gallon. I think you'll find it's 46.7. And you think, well, why did you ask me? The analytical snake is asking you to catch you, to see if you're going to tell a lie. Okay, see if you really know your product knowledge, possibly. The analytical snakes, they tend to walk slower. They tend to talk quieter. Their dress tends to be more conservative. Okay, the analytical snake, think about the electric vehicles, the EV customers with the early adopters about 15 years ago. I remember in a Nissan dealership, a Leaf, the customer comes in and says, with the lithium-ion battery in this, is it lithium-ion 6 or lithium-ion 7? Because I bought a Nikon camera back in 2015, and I tell you, if the temperature dropped below 7, and you think, what the hell is he talking about? But they know more about it because they've done so much research, as you'd expect an analytical customer to do it. In fact, we talk about how much research the average customer has done. The last figure I've seen was 19 hours and 42 minutes of research. But with an analytical customer, I often think they've doubled that at a minimum, okay? So the analytical customers there, how do we deal with them, okay? Sometimes I personally find prayer might help because I find them the hardest ones there. Now, maybe it's my style of selling, okay? But I find them the hardest ones for me personally to deal with because I'm secondary in the buying process. Even if they don't like you, the analytical customer will deal with you often, not all the time, obviously. Okay. But that's the person comes in with that, that spreadsheet with all the different cars on it there. So let's have a look at how to deal with that analytical, the snake of the customer. With these people here, take action rather than words to demonstrate helpfulness and willingness. Okay. They're expecting salespeople to go down to over-exaggerate, go down the BS route. Okay. So what you want to do is take action rather than words. If you've told an analytical snake that you're going to call them at 3 o'clock, make sure you call them at 2. Actually, I would argue you should do that with every customer because they think, wow, a car salesperson has done what they said they would do. With the analytical snake, stick to specifics, okay, to what you say you're going to do. The analytical snake, tell them, set the agenda at the start of the process and tell them what we're going to do is go and have a look at your car. Tell me all the details about it. I'm going to take a few photographs of the car. I'm then going to give it to my boss, a man called Gareth. And even though it's a car we'll probably end up selling ourselves, Gareth will contact a few independent buyers. Now, that's going to take 20 minutes or so. Tell them exactly what to happen. Their decisions are based on facts and logic, and overall, they avoid risk. Okay? They can be very cooperative, but establishing the relationship takes time. Now, if you have wandered into this episode without listening to the other ones, why do we call them the analytical snakes? Actually, because an analytical snake analyzes its prey. It will only attack something it knows it can win. I grew up in Australia and now live in the UK. I have lots of people saying, oh, aren't there snakes everywhere there? I said, listen, honestly, in suburbia in Australia, you see them very, very occasionally. They're so rare. And you know, a snake, I hear all the time, people who are bitten by a snake, so often when you have a listen to what's happened, they're trying to get a shovel to cut its head off or get rid of the snake or something like that, because they'll only attack a human if it feels it has to. It doesn't want to waste its venom or its energy, because it's a cold-blooded creature, by attacking something it knows it can't win. You might have a regional director. You know, the man, the lady that asks you the question, they know the answer to before they've asked it. I'm thinking about one finance director in a group. He does exactly that all the time. If he's asked that question, he knows the answer. He wants to make sure that that sales manager, whoever it is, the after sales manager, service parts manager, doesn't go down the bullshit route there. Okay, that's that analytical snake. We've been talking about suits and watches. Now, this is not money; it's a mindset. The analytical, we'll go down suits first, okay? If we have a look at the lion might want the Savile Row suit. It's been made for them. There's no labels in it. They're not trying to impress anyone else. It's just made for them, tailored. The puppy dog wants that flash Versace Hugo Boss suit. And they say, is it hot in here or is it just me? With all the labels flying out everywhere. The amiable wants a quality suit, but we might go to a John Lewis suit, Marks and Spencer's Italian fabric suit. But the analytical snake might say, well, hold on, I could go to Mataland and I could actually buy 4 suits for the same price of that suit and just throw them out when they actually look a bit tatty. They've analyzed it. The analytical snake, okay, might be when it comes to watches. Okay, actually, the lion, they want that Breguet watch, the Patek Philippe watch. Someone else might know what it is, but they know it's the best money can buy. The puppy dog wants that flash watch with the orange bezel on it or something like that. Sorry, Chris, I love your watch. I've seen it last week, but I'm a puppy dog and it's very bling and I'd have the bling strap on it as well. Okay, they want that Rolex watch there. Okay, the analytical, though, is kind of like, why do I want to watch? I've got the time on my phone. What do I need that for? They've analyzed it. Okay, so with these analytical people, how do we sell to them? If they say, what's the fuel consumption of that car? Don't just say, hey, listen, it's 48.9 miles per gallon. Okay, go and turn around and say, oh, Mr. Analytical Snake, I'm pretty sure it's 48.9 miles per gallon. Let me just get the information here. Yeah, here it is. It's 48.9 miles per gallon as you're showing them. Now, please bear in mind, Mr. Customer, that's done in test conditions. Now, with WLTP, it's a real-world testing scenario. So if you compare us to another manufacturer, you'll get a fair comparison. But actually, when we drive the cars around here, around Bolton, we might not get that. So when we take for the car for a drive, let's reset the trip computer and find out what you're achieving. The analytical snake, they'll know that, but they'll respect you for it anyway. Coming to the closing questions, okay? We might reiterate all the qualification you've found out from the analytical snake. Their buying priorities or their must-haves. Here's how you might do it. Great news, Mr. Snake. Got some really good numbers here for you. Now, the price of the car is $100,000. That's the Porsche Taycan, the 4S, which has got the X, the Y, the Z. You said you wanted it. Now, the current market value in your car is $20,000, which works out at $80,000 balance. That works out at X amount over the 36 months, or comes right down to Y amount over the 48 months. Now, Mr. Snake, you did say you needed this before the school holidays, and we can have this on the 16th of next month, and plenty of time for those holidays to go on that trip to France with it. You did say you wanted the car with the bigger battery, so you've actually got the range to get to Edinburgh just to see the in-laws when you need to, and you can do that in one stop, even in the middle of winter when you get a little bit less range with the battery. You said you actually wanted with a panoramic roof in it, because you grew up in a hot country, and any sunshine that comes in the middle of winter, you can bring it into the car to make you feel like you're at home. You said you wanted the adaptive cruise control on it, and we've got the adaptive cruise control, which is standard across every Taycan, but you definitely has got that. You said you also wanted the flux capacitor in it, so when you hit 88 miles per hour, you can go back in time to the fish under the sea ball. You said you want to keep your payments around $1,250 a month, and we're there or thereabouts if we do it over the 36 or 48 months. So it sounds like we found the right car for you, Mr. Snake. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're under 20 years old, the flux capacitor, there was a documentary years ago by a guy called Doc Brown, had it on a DeLorean, and he could go back to 1955. Go and have a look at that great documentary back there. But anyway, the real point is, with the analytical snake, can you see how there's lots of little yeses to get to the big yes? Because you're dealing with an analytical approach, and you're letting them know that we've metaphorically ticked off each one of their priorities, their concerns. Or actually, this is a great one. David Martin, okay? David Martin, one of the best sales trainer in the motor trade I've ever seen. Okay. David, great fan of the show. People new to the podcast, go and listen to David's episode on the Selling Motor Trade podcast. It really is good. But his technique, the 1 to 10, I find works brilliantly for the analytical snake who wants to think about it. Well, okay, that's definitely food for thought. There's something for me to consider. I need to go and think about it. You might say, sure, I understand that, Mr. Snake. Buying a car is a big decision and should be taken lightly. Here's my business card. Now, my only days off are every second Thursday. If not, I'm pretty much here all the time. But listen, why are you here, Mr. Snake? Give me an indication on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being that's the car you really want to be driving the next 2 or 3 years, and you'd love to secure it right now and start enjoying it as soon as you can. 1 being it's not the right one for you at all. Overall, how would you rate that Taycan? And guys, I've got to tell you, the number is normally 7, 8, or 9. So when they say 7, great. Sounds like we're on track. Well, listen, what would have to change to make it a perfect 10? Or what would have to alter to make it a perfect 10? Give me more money for my car. Make the payment lower. Make the less miles on the car. And now you've found the objection. Well, the mileage is reflected in the price, Mr. Customer. If it had less miles on it, we wouldn't be asking X amount. You know the hardest objection to overcome? The one you don't know what it is. Now, I'm in danger to going into a whole lot of objection handling techniques. Go and have a look at our sales fitness program for that one. I'll give you all the different ideas there. But on this series, I just want you to start thinking, when a customer comes in, are they a lion, a puppy dog, a snake, and a mouse? And actually, if you can start to identify your different core type of customer, you start dealing with them like that animal Okay. It's the lion, dealing with like the lion tamer. The puppy dog, pat them, metaphorically, make them feel special. The mouse, gently, gently let them come to you. The analytical snake is analyzing things, so deal with that analytical approach to life there. And adjust your closing questions, adjust your trial close questions, adjust your qualification approach, and also all of your objection handling techniques to the type of customer you got inside here. You know, too often we get salespeople say, oh, when someone says, I want to think about, I'll just use this approach. But let's think it through. If there's 4 different types of customers and there's 4 different types of salespeople, we want to make sure we've got the right technique for the right customer at the right time. Because if you get the 2 together, that's funny enough where this 25% closing ratio often comes to. The real key is finding out what your style is and then adjusting it to your customers there. Guys, listen, I hope this has helped for you to understand these different types of customers you've got there. We've only touched on it, okay? We do a whole one-day behavioral awareness course there, and we can't do all of it in this podcast, but I thought we'd give you a bit of a flavor for your sales meetings because we have so many people saying we love this content for our sales meetings. I really hope that helps. Hey, do me a favor. Let me know. Forward this on to other people there. I really do appreciate the feedback you guys give us. That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn.